Good morning, gentlemen. It's been a wonderful time at the moment, but Europe is passing through a grave problem. And the problem is that Europe is losing its identity as a bastion of Christianity, that is the Catholic faith. Now, that is a serious matter. Now, I will tell you how it's happening, and it's happening because there's been an influx of refugees from North Africa and the war-torn lands of the Middle East to Europe. Europe is prosperous, they got a lot of money, a lot of food, and these hungry African and Arab people who got no jobs, no food, are looking forward to a brighter future by going to Europe. And 99% of them are following the Islamic faith. And you can well imagine the magnitude of the problem. And when I explain to you what has happened in the island of Lampedusa, which is part of Italy. Now this island's got a population of about 6,000. It's a nice, tranquil Mediterranean island, people living happily in sunshine, and then one fine day, hordes and hordes of boats loaded with refugees, almost 7,000 of them landed on the island. That is more than the local population. The local police were overwhelmed, they didn't expect it. The Italian Navy didn't know a thing about what's happening. And the islands was populated now by these people from Tunisia and Libya and other places. They're all Arabs, and all of them follow the Islamic faith. But there's no food to eat there, and the net result is the old history of migration, that is the pressure of migration where people migrate for food and shelter to other places. It's been going on ever since the dawn of history. But Europe, which was all the time trying to think that it is a bastion of Christianity, has now been breached. They are very worried. The Italians, and this is just a small example, there are innumerable Arabs and Africans who have gone and occupied the inhabited islands of Greece. Greece got about 1,000 islands in the Adriatic Sea and the Mediterranean Sea, and people have gone and occupied those areas. You will remember that Turkey had applied to become a member of the European community. And it was not accepted, though never said officially no, but the application kept on hanging for years and years, and the reason was simple, because the Pope felt that if you add 75 million Muslim Turks to the European population, then the essence of Christianity would be diluted. That Europe, which is the bastion of Christianity, would be finished. They wanted to avoid that, and the net result is Turkey didn't become a member of the EU, and it reduced its application. Though now again they're having second thoughts. So gentlemen, at a time when Europe was ruling the world, they allowed the Africans and so many of their colonial subjects to come and settle in Europe. France had a lot of people coming from Algeria and settling there, from Morocco, from Central Africa, because they were the colonies of France. And same thing happened in England. Hundreds and thousands of people, from the Islamic faith and India, they went there, the Sikhs, to England. And now the English culture is under threat. Now with thousands having come in, the question arises, what Europe going to do about it? And this is not the end, it is the beginning only. And I think more and more, hundreds of thousands of these people are going to come unless you put gunboats on duty and sink these boats. I don't think you can stop them, because hunger is a great motivator. But if you look at it, I have another background to this. I'll give you another background to this. All this is happening because for over 200 years, the Europeans were ruling over Africa. And when they were ruling over Africa, they were exploiting the resources, the minerals, for their own good, and they brought about no development there. And then they left them in the lurch and went away. So the entire fault for this migration is with the Europeans themselves. And you will remember that in 1884, they had that famous convention in Paris, attended by 27 European nations, including the United States, to decide on the division of Africa amongst themselves. And no African nation or leader were present there. So the old saying, the birds have come home to roost, and that's what's happened for the Europeans. Now, France has got a very significant Muslim minority which doesn't integrate with the French. And now, Braverman, Miss Braverman, the Home Minister of England, has said the English culture is under threat from the migrants. You can't help it. You brought them there. You ruled them, ruled over the India, over Pakistan, all these countries for decades. And then you told them, you come and stay here, do the menial job. But now those have become very significant and they have not assimilated into the English culture. Same thing with the French. While the East European countries are now having very little population, they're very small, they're mighty scared, like Poland and Czechoslovakia, what's going to happen, Hungary. And if these hordes enter Europe. Now, Europe, as per some research of some very eminent persons, is heading for Islamization. So the bastion which we felt of Christianity is crumbling. And that is the fact. Because the majority of the persons migrating there follow the Islamic faith. And this is a very insular faith, does not accept or integrate with anybody else. The Hindus, the Buddhists, they will integrate, they will live with the Christians, but not the Islamic faith who want to follow their own laws, their own Sharia, and at the same time, they want all the rights which the countries they have adopted. So, gentlemen, this is going to be a very serious situation, I think, much more serious than the battle in Ukraine or the America's boxing match with China over Taiwan, South China Sea. This problem of Europe is something like the white ants seeping inside furniture and making it hollow. And this is what is going to happen to Europe. And how is Europe going to solve it? They have no method. They know nothing but how to do about it. The only way they can do it is to put their navies to patrol the entire Mediterranean Sea, but that will not be accepted by the world. And not even by some of the European leaders who claim to be great democrats. So, gentlemen, Europe is on the anvil of destruction. Destruction can come in many ways. It can come through a nuclear war, it can come through a revolution, it can come through anything, and it can also come through migration when hordes and hordes of people of an alien faith come there, practice their faith, and then establish their rights. So Europe has its hands full. I don't know how they're going to solve it. Already Sweden is in big problem by admitting the migrants. Germany is in problem. The French have a problem. The Italians have said they will not allow any more migration. But what will they do when hordes of people come like in Lampedusa and overwhelm the local population? Wherever the Italian navy, I mean, they don't have much of a navy, frankly. But whatever it is, these men coming are hungry and destitute. And why are they hungry and destitute? This is because of the antics of the European powers when they colonized Africa, North Africa, brought about no development there and sucked the conditions dry of their resources to make their industrial revolution a success. Now they are facing the grapes of wrath. And it is good time the Europeans took stock of this, apologized for the many atrocities they committed in Africa and sit down with the African nations and look via media to see that the nations develop. Europe must part with a substantial part of its wealth if it wants to retain Christianity. Otherwise, I'm afraid we won't be there. But at the turn of the 21st century, Europe may be becoming more and more an Islamic region. Well, gentlemen, I have nothing more to add. I hope you like my video. Share it with your friends. Come back to me. Again, I'm giving you a different viewpoint, not the news. And I look forward for greater interaction with you all. Goodbye, Jai Hind, and God bless. Take care.